The David Pakman Show at davidpakman.com.
This is a really cool story. In northern Italy, in a small, I don't even know that we can call it a town. I guess it's a small village called Viganella. It's the way that the town is situated, and this is a couple hundred German Buddhists live here. There's 83 days from November 11th to February 2nd where the sun disappears altogether. Now, this isn't like being in the North Pole where there's literally no day. It's simply that because of the angle and the placement of the town, no sunlight reaches anywhere in the town. They've decided to install a €100,000 mirror, about $140,000, which will redirect sunlight into the village and will actually give them sunlight throughout this period of time where they normally wouldn't get it. So as you can see on this graph, if you're watching, the way that the sun angle comes across, you simply don't get any sunlight down in the village. They're going to put a mirror over here, which will redirect light down. This is interesting for a number of reasons. Number one is that it's innovative and it's interesting just kind of at face value. But the other thing is, let's think about, I would be curious, if you think about, this place only has 185 residents, so this may not be the best example, but we could still kind of do it. $140,000 mirror. I wonder how much in healthcare costs will be saved over the life of that mirror by having sunlight, right? So number one, if you talk about seasonal depression, this is certainly going to be mitigated by having reflected sunlight in the village. How much in healthcare cost are you going to save in terms of whether it be people that get bad enough that they need to be medicated or therapy or whatever it is? Again, with 185 people, it may be years before you make that up. But if you think about a town of 5,000 or 10,000 with a $140,000 mirror, you may be thinking about something else altogether. And do we know if this mirror in reflecting sunlight also reflects the vitamin D that is absorbed from the sun? Do we know that?
I don't know.
Natan,
I assume it does.
I would assume it does, Natan.
I assume it does. I just don't get what you're saying this would be useful for in a town or a city that doesn't have this shadow problem.
No, I'm saying if the town were bigger and it had this shadow problem,
right,
the cost of the mirror itself could easily be made up for by the health benefits of having the sunlight.
Although if you look at the town, if it were just slightly bigger, the bigger area would be outside of the area that's under the shadow.
No, sir. Well, Natan, this is hypothetical. I'm not saying if more people lived here, but if you applied this artificial sunlight. So then it gives us the broader question, which is how else can modifying the natural climate or lighting affect health? And we know about health issues for people who work night shifts and sleep during the day, and we know about health issues for people who live in places where you might have months at a time with no daytime at all. So I think that this just opens up a lot of interesting things.
Yeah. And I know large mirrors are expensive, but couldn't they just have pieced together smaller mirrors? Save some money.
Well, wouldn't those mirrors together and the connecting of them have cost about €100,000 anyway? I mean, I think I don't think the price is
It's also
too crazy.
computer operated to move as the sun moves throughout the day. That probably costs
that's
a lot.
where the
too.
cost
You need the
comes from.
computer, obviously,
Yeah.
Lewis. What are you thinking?
Computer operated.
Yeah. This is a serious mirror.
Tilts with the sun. Okay. Yeah, good stuff.
Interesting story. I wonder how else sunlight can be modified for health benefits.
Good question.